Hey everyone, it's Eric Jensen again. Here it's now darker because of stupid daylight savings time, but here I am in the dark and wet Pacific Northwest again, ready to talk some sports. We've got crazy breaking news stuff coming on that I'll get to. Touch on what went down last week in college football really quick. Wake Forest goes down. They had that game and then they just gave it away to North Carolina. So the ACC is basically out of things. What else happened? Michigan State loses to Purdue. Purdue is just on a roll on stopping those high-ranked teams. So they're gone. They still have a chance, actually, if they win out, to probably make it back into the college football playoff Final Four. But we'll see what happens. They still have, Ohio State and whatnot. Anyways, I already did all my rants last week over and over again on how stupid the college football playoff rankings were. I haven't seen them this week. I don't know if they're out yet, but they will be equally just as dumb. Anyway, so here's what it should be. Here's my rankings. Number 1, I've got Georgia. Number 2, I'm moving Oklahoma there and dropping Cincinnati to number 3. Cincinnati hasn't looked all that great the past couple weeks. And so, I mean, I still think they're a good team. They just, they're not looking as good, but they're still undefeated. They still should be ranked ahead of teams that have been defeated. Then number 4, I've got UTSA, University of Texas San Antonio, still undefeated. They beat the UTEP. Battle of those Texas powerhouse teams, which they might all be better than Texas. So take that for what it's worth. Then we've got number 5, Alabama. Number 6, I've got Oregon. 7, Ohio State. 8, Michigan State. 9, Oklahoma State. 10, Michigan. Again, a lot of these you could interchange, but I like keeping the teams that have the same record, and if you beat the other one, you should be ahead of them. 11, I've got Notre Dame. 12, Wake Forest drops down. I was actually really impressed with Wake Forest's offense. Their defense needs some work, though. Number 13, and after this, I mean, it's all a crapshoot right here. I mean, who knows? Number 13, I've got Ole Miss. Number 14, I've got Baylor. And number 15, I've got BYU. So that's my top 15. I think, based on merit, based on how you've actually, what your record is. I got a comment in there. How do you determine? I mean, it's almost impossible to completely determine like whose resume is better because strength of schedules are different for different teams. So it's hard, but I do like to weigh wins and losses more than anything, in my opinion. But I don't know how you would. It's so hard when you've got over 130 teams all playing, trying to keep them on a balanced schedule to see which is actually the best teams, but we do what we can. Anyways, USC, that was awful. Arizona State did everything they could to give USC a win. I mean, they were throwing the ball to USC defensive players. It was just bad. There's not much to say here in this game. I mean, Arizona State looked awful and USC looked even worse. So take that for what it's worth. They've got to stop with the 2 QB system. If it was me right now, I think Jackson Dart still looks, even though he did have a good keeper to get the 1 touchdown they scored the entire game. Ridiculous. But he doesn't look like he's 100% yet. Like I said, I think last week, I wouldn't put him in. I'd try and redshirt him. Keep Slovis in there the rest of the season. You're not going to get much experience because hopefully we're going to be running a completely different offense. They better be running a different offense because it is awful. and their defense is even worse than their offense. This is why, which brings me into what I'm wanting to talk about. We'll start with the breaking news. USC is supposed to play Cal. Cal has a COVID outbreak on their team, and it wouldn't be a problem, but they happen to be in Berkeley, and Berkeley is insane. And so due to Berkeley's regulations, they can't field a team. And so the game is now being moved to December 4th. So it could have been postponed, or it could have been forfeited. Like if I read the rules right, the Pac-12 released from the beginning, it looks to me like it should have been a forfeit, but I am glad that they're just postponing it. Which brings me to my main point. This USC football hire and what USC needs to do in the Pac-12. They have an opportunity to be great, but they have to change some things. In the Pac-12, we get, as you're watching the games, you get these stupid commercials that say, we're so woke. We look at all this stuff that, we're for this woke thing and that woke thing and blah, 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 blah. And you're like, why on an athletic and conference commercial are you going on about this? And then you compare that to the SEC. In the SEC, what do? They just have, their logos and crowds chanting SEC, SEC, and say, we're the best. And you know what? They are. And you know why? Because they prioritize football over all the other stupid things. I don't care what the universities in the SEC, they may not be quite as far gone onto the woke ideology as most of the Pac-12 schools. They're far out there too, but the conference and the football teams aren't. The football teams focus about football, and their athletic programs focus on their sporting events. That's what they should be doing. So if USC is smart, this is not something that everyone can do in the Pac-12, but it is something that USC can do. They need to focus on being like an SEC school. You need to focus on, as an athletic program, don't care what the rest of the university is doing. Don't care what they're standing for or whatnot. You better make it more than a top priority. Like, this is life or death to win football games. Is that stupid? Yeah, but that's what you need to treat it like. You shouldn't be joining into this woke thing. And that's why USC has a unique opportunity. Most of the other schools in the Pac-12, they're bound because they're mainly all state schools. So whatever the state is doing, they're going to be forced to do whatever. Like Washington, theoretically, Washington could, but they're run by the state. And let me just tell you, up here in the Northwest, we are a backwards, insane place to be. So they can't do it. USC, though, is private. They're a private school. They can do whatever they want. They should have the power to do whatever they want. So when they're making the hire, I am not saying that you would get these guys, but you need to be going after Nick Saban and Kirby Smart, honestly, and be willing to get a booster out there to throw however many millions of dollars it would take. Throw it out there. Get it together. Make it where when the Pac-12 last season was afraid of COVID, that you need to say, no, we're going to be playing games anyways, no matter what the conference does. Nebraska tried to pull it in the Big Ten. They don't have enough power in the Big Ten. USC does in the Pac-12. USC should have said, I don't care what you're doing. We're going to do what we want to do and play football. If you do that, you win. You win respect. BYU did that. They were the only team in the West that played an entire season of football. And look at where they are now. They're doing great. They've got their program rolling. They lost a whole bunch of players and are still good this year. And they gained a whole bunch of respect across the country because they were willing to play football games. USC needs to be able to do that. They need to focus on just on football, just on sports. Pay whatever money it is. Don't care about anything else. Be an SEC school in the West, and you will start winning games. You will start getting respect, which is one of the things that made me almost throw up last season when we lost the Pac-12 championship game to Oregon, and then they decided to decline a bowl game. Do you think they do that in the SEC? No, they live for football. They keep playing. Part of the reason why this season is such a joke, in my opinion, and USC has been so bad, is a result of that decision making. I'm not saying they would have been good if they played a bowl game last year, but the decision making to not play a bowl game last year is why they are not good. They had constantly people that were not all in. And so, yeah, I don't care what, oops, my lights went out. Well, it's going to be a little darker. There, it's back on.
Losses from Washington.
Oh, there we go. Anyways, yeah, that's my USC rant. They need to break apart. I mean, they can still be in the Pac-12, but they need to do their own thing. They can't be a part of this woke. I'm so proud of this minority and whatnot. Not saying you can't be proud of that stuff, but that shouldn't be your focus. Your focus should be, I'm so proud that I've won 5 national championships in a row. And we've now won, 80 straight games. That's what you want to do. And you can do it if you focus on that. So, yeah. And that will help in the coaching search, too. I mean, you should be willing to throw as much money to make... I mean, Alabama should be shaking in their boots. Are they going to get Nick Saban? We better offer him, several billion more dollars to keep him in the state. Same with Kirby Smart. I'm not saying we'll get them, but we need to act like we will get them and actually pursue it. As outlandish as it was, why not go get Mike Tomlin too? I mean, make the Pittsburgh Steelers give him money. Whoever you choose, I don't know who the right person is, but whoever you choose, do whatever you need to do. So yeah, I'm going way long on that. Anyways, other breaking news, the Anaheim Ducks general manager, he's suspended under investigation. Apparently he was yelling and threatening employees. I don't know. I don't know the details on that. But the Ducks have been playing good. They're on a 4-game win streak. We'll see if that can continue today. They play again. USC basketball starts up. We'll start covering some of that. Hopefully they should have a good team with Isaiah Mobley, the older of the two brothers. Manchester United, there's not much to say. They, as bad as USC looked, Manchester United looked worse against Manchester City over the weekend. So we can just scrub that from our memories. And it doesn't look like they're making any changes, although they probably should. Anyways, I think that's all I've got right now. I mean, just focus on sports 100%. And I don't care what your stupid school president, Carol Folt, is focused on. She can be focused on whatever. Ignore her. Just do what you need to do. Be an SEC school in LA and watch what happens. Anyways, that's my opinions for right now. We won't have a USC game to preview this next, since Cal is a joke. And that's what I'm talking about. You've got to separate yourselves from that. I mean, maybe not conference-wise, but yeah. I guess what I'll talk about next time is refereeing, because refereeing has been a joke. I mean, it's always a joke. It's Pac-12. But in the NFL and everything, I've got some ideas and some things, some solutions for all of college football. So I'll talk about that later this week. And until then, have it so good. Bye.